never dreamed and imagined we would be living in Piedmont, California.
Here's Greg and Marie living 10 years on the street, and they found a way to love each other under the harshest circumstances on the face of this earth. That's what captured my attention immediately.
A man with a big heart brought a homeless couple into his $4 million home.
There was never an intention to ever have Greg and Marie living in my house become available for public consumption.
You're living in a rich white man's house in a rich white neighborhood. How many times have you heard that happening? Because it doesn't happen.
The road to hell is paved with good intention.
They said we sold to the devil.
I knew what was going to happen.
There's just some kind of strange folks hanging around the house.
The police were going to be called.
I'm not going to abandon them.
Oh, we don't.
No, we don't.
Can we stop on this?
Yeah.
I know less today than I did 9 or 10 months ago when I started on this journey.
Unsheltered people are invisible until they're not. There are hundreds, thousands of people on the street.
Oh, our bed pads. When the weather's cold, use this for pads, for concrete.
Bed, well, covers
on top of it. And it worked.
I met Greg and Marie at the end of October 2018. They'd been living on the street for about 10 years. Greg is a former security guard who was injured on the job, and Marie is a former cashier and certified nurse assistant. When I met them, they were 60 and 53 years old. I just remember looking at them and just thinking, like, could I put my life into 2 carts and then push that around all day? They have health issues, which I believe a lot stems from living on the street.
We're home. It seemed like the nights went by fast. We would actually put all our layers down here in our blankets, and this wall kept us warm. When it didn't rain at night, we were right here.
The more time I spent with them after that initial meeting, I was like, you know what? They're actually fun people. I look forward to seeing them.
See how close it is? For you. Okay. How you been?
Good.
That's good. Good. You strong. You know that? Stay that way. Okay?
Here are 2 older adults who've dealt with setback after setback. They have health issues. They can't get jobs, and yet they've managed to survive. How are we not taking care of people like that? I wanted to tell that story. My column ran on January 3rd, 2019.
I started reading the article. I got halfway through it, and tears started streaming down my face.
Terry sent me an email.
Hey, I have no idea why I'm emailing you.
I didn't know anything about this man.
I want to try to help in some way.
I knew that there was a possibility that Greg and Marie were going to have a home. Terry has this all-glass living room, all these art pieces. You could tell it was an environment that they weren't used to. Lush green lawns, tree coverage all over the place, and these really big house with these long driveways with nice cars.
It wasn't about, oh, why here we go live in a house where you be inside.
We have to think about it.
But I could also tell that they were really excited about having a place. The column ran on January 3rd. They moved into Terry's house on February 1st. Remarkable.
I come from a very, very humble background. I didn't know when I first read the article, but soon after I met Greg and started asking him about his story, his life, his upbringing, it became clear to me, not only are we almost virtually the same exact age, but we both came from circumstances that were pretty tough circumstances. I mean, obviously there's a big difference, you know, in the mere fact that he's black and I'm white, and I can never pretend to understand what that is like. I'm in the buy it broken and fix it business. In order to increase revenue, somebody's gonna have to make an investment. I think first and foremost, a lot of people perceive developers as greed-based. The funny thing is, I love the city. I love the edge, I love the rawness. There's days where, you know, you want to turn your back and walk away and never return, but I think part of that would be giving up. What I think I still cannot wrap my brain around is why this simple act of kindness has just resonated with people in so many different ways, because from my perspective, I didn't do anything extraordinary. One of the things that always comes up in this is, aren't you afraid? Weren't you about having strangers in your house? And I'm like, why would they do something to me if I'm giving them housing?
Hey, give us our privacy. We give him his privacy. We got full use of the back part of the house.
The room that Greg and Marie are living in now in my house, the in-law unit, my nieces live there, former nanny has lived there, so it's been used. It's not like this was uncharted water in terms of having somebody live in there. And so with Greg and Marie, it was, to some extent, it was, I wouldn't say it was easy for me, but I was used to being in a place where I don't have the answers. We're gonna have to kind of figure this out as we go, and there's gonna be a lot learned in that process.
Greg and Marie have been living in Terry's in-law suite for about 9 months. There is this adjustment period that they've had to go through.
Happy birthday to Marie. Happy birthday, little Marie. Welcome to your new number.
Thank you. We slept on the floor for 2 weeks.
Because our legs got so used to just sleeping on the concrete and flat on the ground, and we got comfortable that way. It was like we were transforming back into a bed mode to get comfortable.
I got used to it snoring now.
Be able to set things down and don't have to worry about it. Be able to open my door, don't have to lock my door, and don't worry about someone's walking into my door and stealing it. And we're very trustworthy people, but we want him to know that he can trust us, which he does. He does.
Piedmont residents are less than 2% black. No one said it. I knew what was going to happen. The police were going to be called.
We walk out and we go catch the bus. We're standing in front of the house, and we notice that we're being watched with a camera.
Hey, I'm a neighbor on Hampton Road, so I just pulled in the driveway, and there's just some kind of strange folks hanging around the house.
I had reached out to Chief Bowers and sent him an email from day one, letting him know what I was going to do in case this actually happened. And so the only reason this is happening, obviously, because this was a couple that didn't fit in to the community based on predominantly on color and how they walked and what they wore.
It reached the level to where they felt that they were going to burden Terry because the cops were always coming by, and they felt that it was causing a problem for them and they were ready to move out. Eventually, neighbors stopped calling the police, but the challenges of the new living arrangement were just beginning. For the people that I've gotten to know on the streets, I feel they always have a sense that at any moment they'll be forced to evacuate.
We don't see tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen in an hour tomorrow.
2 days later, we don't know what's going to happen.
So there has been some tension between Greg and Marie and Terry.
Their heart is absolutely in the right place. They want to volunteer. They want to help other people like themselves that are in the same state.
Hey, brother, how you doing, man? I know what they're going through with a lot of stuff, because we know how it feels to have a lot of stuff in our car.
The kindness is top of the line. They like meeting people. They like having conversations.
You okay, though? You all right?
Like, yeah, but you're not getting paid for that. Shouldn't you be doing something that you're getting paid for?
He wouldn't know until we find a job yet.
And it's unfortunate that they're hearing job, job, job from me.
They thought they were doing the right thing by saying, we have an address now. But the government looks at that as they have housing. So their assistance dropped by almost a half.
Once I get a job, take on a job, I'm off my permanent disability.
If they went and got jobs, their government assistance would be reduced even further.
I'm not going to let the only income that I have permanently for the rest of my life, I'm not going to let that go.
Have you explained it this way to Terry?
He don't talk to us.
He don't really talk.
He don't talk to us.
At all.
I think you're treating it as a businessman. You're asking questions, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they're treating it as you're yelling at them and being mean to them and putting them down.
Actually, I'm trying not to advocate anything other than what can you do to create more sustainability around your circumstances?
It takes a while for Terry and for Greg and Marie to meet in the middle. Terry's learning so much about them and their plight, and they're getting adjusted to essentially what cities need to be doing is providing housing. A lot of the tension between Greg, Marie, and Terry comes down to a lack of communication. I think they're willing to work on that.
I would have said that it's reduced.
Oh, income. See, they give you more money.
Well, if you live outside,
Yeah.
they give
You
you
mean live outside on the
on the
street?
street.
You don't
They
have
give
no cooking.
So if you have a cooking facility inside, they give you.
less money. If they don't have one living outside, they give you $75 more.
Yeah, it's awkward. Which is better than not getting
Nothing at all, but
That's what we
Still,
take it.
It's counterintuitive. It's totally counterintuitive.
Yeah. I would love to see more of us talking, getting together.
Right.
they
One
know each
another,
other better.
You know?
I'm a very private person. I see my family fairly regularly, but I still protect my private space, like my very personal space. And so I was glad it came up in conversation today because I'm like, oh, I need to let them know it's not personal.
What I learned last night, no matter what, he makes time for his daughter and stuff, his family. And I said, wow, okay. So what did we sit up here saying, oh, he don't spend no time with us? Well, now we understand. We want to have something in common, at least have a conversation and feel in, see where we at and how we're doing.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Does housing solve this problem in and of itself? If you had asked me that question a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have said, oh, of course, of course.
Where we're going to where we slept at for 10 years. We actually came back here and slept a couple nights. Since we've been living up there. We wanted to see what the difference was.
I said, no, I always go home now.
I know less today than I did 9 or 10 months ago when I started on this journey. I don't feel like it's been a failure. All it tells me is this is a super complex problem. I'm not going to abandon them.
We don't want to come back here.
We don't.
But when no choice, we will. And we know that living where we're living at is
We know it's temporary.
it's temporary. It's a transitioning for us to get our own place. And what we need some help with it.
It's like a dream, having your own house, having your own car, and then be able to just
Say that's your own place.
say it's your own place. And we want that.